What's going on, friends? If you're interested in a Harley-Davidson Touring motorcycle, but you don't necessarily want to spend $25,000 to $30,000, there are some options out there for you well under 10 grand. Now, don't let the age and the mileage scare you. That is definitely what's going to dictate the price when it comes to a used Harley-Davidson touring bike, is going to be the age and the mileage. Now, that can vary back and forth either direction, and that definitely is the major factor that dictates the price. But honestly, guys, when it comes to a used Harley, especially a touring bike, this can be some of the best value out there on the market for under $10,000. Everybody loves a deal when it comes to a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Now, the one thing that can turn a lot of people away from a good deal on a Harley-Davidson motorcycle is the mileage. But you gotta think though, if a bike's got 30 to 50,000 miles on it, it probably didn't get there just by complete accident. More than likely, that bike was really taken care of. Now, obviously, it's going to be up to you to do your due diligence and make sure that you check that bike over properly, look at every nook and cranny of it, and I hate to say it, but when it comes to a twin cam with that kind of mileage, definitely going to have to crack the cam chest, pull the cam out of it, pull the cam plate out, and you're going to have to look in there at those tensioners, whether it actually be a 96 or an 88. I still highly recommend it, especially on the 88s. But guys, you got to consider that everything that you're getting in a used touring motorcycle, that is a lot of motorcycle for the money. Especially the lower tier, under $10,000, you're still getting a wonderful, nice piece of machinery with a lot of features on it. That is so much bike for the money. Granted, you could go out and spend more money, get something newer, but a little more horsepower, but at the same time, you're going to be spending a heck of a lot more money. Even later model 103s with 20,000 miles on them, these bikes are still commanding anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now guys, if you're looking at a used touring bike, you can get something anywhere from $1999 to 2006 with an 88 in it. Yes, don't let that scare you. But definitely, the one thing on those 88s, we've got to worry about the cam chain tensioners. That's just something that we're not going to get away from. But when you can get a full-on touring Harley-Davidson for anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, kind of anywhere in between there, your mileage is going to vary anywhere from about 25,000 to 50,000 miles. But the big thing is you got to consider all the features you're getting on this bike. You're getting the touring pack, you're getting the bags, you're on the touring frame. You actually have a radio in it, you got the analog gauges, and guys, I know these bikes don't have a lot of the new tech in them, but who cares? For what you're paying for these bikes, you're getting a lot of bike with cruise control, all the features, all the bells and whistles, everything Harley-Davidson had. And you gotta think, these bikes really honestly don't have anything different than the later models other than basically the infotainment screen. If you can live without an infotainment screen, these are a great value. And not only that, guys, you can put a bar mount with your cell phone on it if you gotta have some kind of screen and want to be able to control your music, have your GPS. All that can be done on these bikes. A lot of times the older bikes, well, I know for a fact they did not have updated head units in them. The head units in them were the old school ones, but a lot of times they may have already been changed out to something that's actually got Bluetooth where you can pair your phone to it, get your GPS directions, you can put your music on there. There's really a whole lot that you could do with these bikes. Yeah, you got to kind of go around it, I guess I would say the poor man's way, but there's nothing wrong with that. When you're only invested into a bike for $5,000, especially if you got a full-on Harley touring machine for $5 grand, that's really hard to beat. And not to mention, I mean, I get it. No, you're not going to win a drag race against a 103 or a Milwaukee 8. And what these bikes lack in horsepower, they still have decent torque. They're going to have plenty of torque output for you to be able to load these bikes down and go running down the highway. Are they going to do everything as fast as the newer ones? Not as fast, but they'll still do it, and they'll still do it well. Now guys, I've just done a quick search kind of seeing what's out there on the market today, and as I mentioned, mileage varies anywhere from 25 to 50,000 miles. You can get a full-on Harley touring bike with roughly about, 40 to 50,000 miles on it. I know it's a little spooky, but you're looking at anywhere from $4,500 to $6,500. Yeah, granted the bike's 20 years old, but a lot of times the Harley, it's been really taken care of, especially the touring bikes. The only way you're really going to make that judgment call is by actually physically laying eyes on the bike and actually riding it, checking it out, listening for unusual noises, and looking for anything wonky-donkey going on with the bike that may cost you a lot of money down the road. But for the most part, these twin cam engines are actually pretty solid. And if they made it to 50,000 miles, there's nothing to say that it can't go another 50,000 miles. There are plenty of examples out there of basically untouched other than basic maintenance on the twin cam engines where they have exceeded well over 100,000 miles. And that doesn't happen by accident. That happens through proper maintenance and care of the machine. And generally, by looking at a used Harley-Davidson, you can tell a lot just by how it was taken care of, just by the cosmetics, and looking at the engine, looking at the finishes. What kind of condition is everything in? That right there could be a big telltale sign if that bike has actually been serviced and taken care of over its life. Because honestly, you and I both know a Harley-Davidson isn't going to make it to 50,000 miles without proper maintenance and service. Granted, they may do it, but they may run like crap if they do make it that far. Now, depending on what you're interested in, if you're interested in an Ultra, an Electric Glide, Street Glide, Road Glide, these bikes go back many years. And you can pick them up, as I mentioned, for as little as $4,500 to $5,000. These are still nice machines. Are they older? Yeah, they're 20 plus years old. But these engines still have a lot of life left in them. So if you go out and spend $5,000 on a bike that's got 40,000 miles on it, everything checks out, everything's really clean on it, and you only ride the bike 5,000 miles a year, I mean, how many years are you going to get out of that bike before you absolutely had to do anything to it? Now, I'm not saying every bike out there is going to be absolutely foolproof and not give you any kind of trouble. Buying any used motorcycle is a risk. I've seen people buy bikes with 10,000 miles on them and they eat a lifter, wipe a cam out, blow the motor up. Does it happen? Absolutely. Theoretically, it might be more likely to happen with a higher mileage motorcycle, but that's kind of the risk you take when you do it. But on the flip side of that, yeah, you spent $5,000 on the bike, yeah, you have some issues with it, but even if you had to put a whole new engine in it, say you're fully invested into the bike for $10,000. Okay, yeah, that sounds crazy on a 20-year-old motorcycle, but yeah, you're invested $10,000 on it, but you have a brand new engine in it and you virtually have a brand new Harley-Davidson motorcycle sitting right there in front of you. And you're still, what did you save there? You basically saved yourself anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 on something newer. Now, I realize some of this is kind of crazy, and it is just kind of a matter of perspective, but I understand that not everybody can go out and spend $30,000 on a brand new Harley, myself included. This is why I love to kind of search around, look for the deals, check the websites, check the internet, look around locally. I love to find bikes that are anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 that have decent mileage on them. They're really clean, they're nice, decent machines, and there's a lot of value there. As I mentioned, you're getting the cruise control. You're getting all the bells and whistles in these bikes. You're getting that touring frame. Now, once again, I understand the older bikes, they do have the old air suspension on them, and that can be kind of a pain in the butt. The air shocks, they leak air. You can air them up, they'll lose air. They can almost be impossible to track down, and they can be a real pain in the butt to try to go through. Now, I understand nobody wants to go out and spend $2,500 in Legend suspension on basically a 20-year-old motorcycle. That's where you can go out and look at different companies like Progressive Suspension. They make some very nice suspension that is very budget friendly, and it's not absolute junk. You can swap out those air shocks for a set of Progressives on the back, go through, have your forks rebuilt, have your oil changed in them, and that bike will ride like brand new. Absolutely, that is the best value out there in a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. You could literally save yourself $15,000 to $20,000 if you don't mind an older bike. If you don't mind an older motorcycle, you don't mind riding yesterday's Harley-Davidson, which arguably they were built better, and they'll have a twin cam engine, have a nice thump to it, and you also have the fuel injection if you like that, but those older Delphi systems, there's nothing wrong with them. They're good and solid. They're leaps and bounds ahead of the old Magneti Marelli that was on the Evo-powered bikes. So guys, if you are interested in a Harley-Davidson touring machine, definitely look at the older models. these bikes are still really clean, really slick, got the classic Harley look. They're going to be all chrome, so I hope you like chrome, or else you want to spend some money to powder coat everything. Chrome will get you home. Guys, there's nothing wrong with getting a cheap Harley and enjoying it, loving it, maybe even building it into something that's even more special than the new bikes out there. Not to mention, those bikes are already proven. We already know the issues with them, and if you have a problem, guarantee it, trying to find a solution to it's going to be a lot easier than something with that new Skynet, Skylink, that big screen they're putting on the new one. So that's definitely something to think about. But yeah, guys, I want your opinion. Are you guys comfortable with buying a used Harley-Davidson that looks nice and clean? Might be 20 years old, but it's got some miles on it. Are you guys comfortable with that, or are you afraid that motor's going to blow on you and cost you another $5,000 into a 20-plus-year-old bike? Let me know in the comments. But anyhow, guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. You guys stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.